Thank you, gentlemen, for your thoughts as always. Again, the desk is going to lean heavily to one team, and that team this time is going to be Extatus. They've leaned to teams before, and this time they're going to go all in for a 2-0 flicks.
I think with the desk, though, it's kind of been up and down. Sometimes they've kind of gone all in on a team and then proved to be somewhat proven wrong. Yesterday was kind of a good example of that. So I'm curious as to kind of how these two teams do match up against each other. I'm expecting some great play to come out from the likes of Frozen, but either way, to kick the show off, it is going to be Farmer, put under a lot of pressure in towards Connector as he has to play for the taps pretty much with that USP, only able to find just the one, as Connector is going to find itself swiftly overwhelmed by the T-side, who get themselves plenty of picks to pit themselves in a 3-for-2 advantage. Now with full control of the A side as well up for grabs, they can flash themselves over, get themselves up on towards the site, get a bomb plant most importantly, leaving Kreese and Depan in a very tough 2-versus-3 retake.
Department's coming up from mid, so he's gone for the quick flank all the way around. Let's see if anyone from Extatus is ready for anyone to be towards mid tree. And it looks like Zedko spotted the top of his head there. Now he'll definitely see him. So I know where one player is. The second player, Krez, is going to challenge. And he's going to be punished shortly from two members. He's able to get the first engagement, but Zedko on site's not having any of it. Deparn brings it to a 1v1. Zedko, he's back site. He's playing for time. No kit out on Deparn. He has to find him soon. But Zedko is playing this so well, and the jump up will find him in the end. Extatus will pick up the first round, the pistol round. And it was a quick play down drop, just pure out aggression, catch out the players in connector. I mean, that's just how it falls apart for the CT side, is when those Glocks start to swarm you and just overwhelm you, and then they have numbers. It gets a little scary.
I think it's a nice little heads up, though, to the Swedish side that you need to be thinking and very almost conscious of your drop hold, and it's going to be much more apparent in these buy rounds as well, over just how well can they hold off this portion of the map. If they allow Connector to consistently be abused by this T side, then they're going to find themselves very much struggling to hold off any of these sides, especially that A side. It's so easy just to wrap in and take control of A, but then the wraparound from B as well is just another option. So in reality, Connector is almost similar to Cash, for example, when you don't want to give up mid. You just don't want to allow a team to be able to abuse and go all in on Connector that easily. So a pistol, it's a good foreshadowing of potentially what's to come. Hopefully ex-Manatee can find themselves a few adaptations here and there just to hold off on it and stop Extatus from being almost too overconfident, too overzealous. What I'm trying to do in this round is pretty much play nice and relaxed with these UMPs. The two rifles, of course, there for the more longer-ranged affairs, if needed. I wouldn't be too shocked if they did just continue to put pressure up towards A, slowly but surely walk up and meet the Eagle to Palm, find themselves plenty of trades.
Well, the first dude is going to go 1 for 1. This time it's going to continue to push forward, leaving rotations. Already a player back site, one jumped out, going to be under balcony, gets cleaned up. Stone, as he's just going to keep pushing into the site. Devil, in the meantime, back APC, going to clean things up with his UMP. He's it all on Farmer, sees that in hand. What can he do? Somehow he's able to come out on top. They double peek him, but he's able to get the first one to bring it down and isolate it into a 1v2. Spots ahead of Frozen, but the repeat comes out. As Farmer will fall, no more farming for him into that round, only able to get one frag. Extatus, well, they'll get out of that round with 2 players alive, taking the second round. Ex-Manatee now are going to have to save, maybe go for some upgraded pistols. A Zeus, P250. Extatus, well, they're going to rebuy an AK. Mat 10 is going to be out from Zedko. Nothing really too crazy or normal, really, just not yet. But the desk also said they don't plan on seeing any kind of executions from any of these teams, as Zedko neglects his corner and doesn't get Zeus somehow. So there you go.
I think that'll be an interesting thing to watch. I think Cobblestone is also a map where you do some really like almost A-star executes, but at the same time, you can play this kind of pick and split based play to your heart's content, was right to the very end. So I think both sides lend to each other very, very well, and if we don't see any executes at all, I don't think that's a bad thing. It just means that a CT side should be able to get more rounds on the board. It should be arguably a much more closer and balanced game. If that's not the case, then that starts to spell some interesting questions. Now it is going to be a Mac 10 to chew apart its opposition, making itself some sweet, sweet money, as Kreese is going to take down one to at least bring a little bit of pain into the round. But for the most part, it feels pretty damn comfortable for Extatus. They find a quadra kill with a Mac 10, which is bucket loads of money, $8,000 in play for him, on Zedko, of course. And everyone else gets to save those rifles and continue to build up that bank. Extatus, they are feeling great right now.
Ex-Manatee going to go ahead and pick up the op on Krez. It's a full-out glass cannon. Interestingly enough, they didn't get a chance to really farm up any cash, right? I mean, you lose pistol, you lose the following, you never get the chance, just like the T side has, to build up a little bit of a like safe haven economy-wise. So Krez is forced into a full glass cannon op, no utility, no armor. They have 1 UMP, and look at their utility already. The round just started, mid 29, and they're down to 1 smoke. So it's getting a little rough for him as the smoke can be able to clean up Frozen. He has to fall back from mid. Zedco gets gushed towards Plat. This is looking good for ex-Manatee once they get guns in their hands, as they'll come out with a man advantage. Minute 13 on the clock, and another one for Taparn as he's able to just dip out of there.
Pushes to coming over towards long now. A few battles to be taken here and there. A smokes are going to find their way down on towards that site to somewhat support their exit. But Molto as well is actually the perfect block. Robin gets an easy frag with the UMP. Benji, all he's got to do now is find a pick on towards Questone, and this round is locked in for the CT side. But Questone refuses to bow to this one comfortably. He will keep on fighting, keep swinging. As with 45 seconds left, there is literally no rush for him to try and take any wacky faces. Instead, he's going to wait to see, okay, is anyone going to try and push me? Is anyone going to be a little bit too overconfident with this versus one? Right now, he's in, sure, a pretty rough spot, but he can still try and push on up.
Still has to find this one bullet on the op, and then the aim punch will do the rest of the job. He gets shot from sight, so he knows there's at least one player home. Side he'd like to go towards with 16 seconds. He has to push up now. Here's the ops go. Aim punch. Gets the headshot. Down goes Krez. 1v1. Robin back sight. 8 seconds. He has to face, and Robin will clean it up with the UMP. Won't have time to get to the op. So that glass cannon op investment won't be able to get recycled unless Robin drops one. But ex-Manatee, they get rifles in their hands. They get the first opening 2 picks. And it comes down to 1v2, and they come out on top. So look out for ex-Manatee when they actually get rifles. But very scrimmy round coming out from Extatus. There wasn't much like... There wasn't a lot of planning to that. It was very skirmish and very contact based.
It was exactly what the analysts kind of predicted, right? I mean, they have really hit the nail on the head with this one. It just seems like we kind of know exactly what we're going to be getting out of the Extatus side. They are a team, but that does not mean they're playing with that kind of high caliber effect or well practiced effect, should we say, is they are going to go 1-1 with just quick peeks out of B with no real kind of plan of these smokes or any flashes at all. It's just, let's face to our heart's content, see what we shall find. Searching for a reward, but unfortunately it's just too close to call where this is going to lead, as Monty playing close around Statue, picks off both of those heads to lead it to another round for Extatus to play with. The weird thing there is, they don't use a single smoke out on towards that B site. Barely a single flash gets popped. It literally just comes down to which team is going to hit their shots to be able to deny that site.
Yeah, it's a very raw aim heavy game so far. Maybe that will change a little bit. I mean, the CTs have so far had pretty good utility usage. The T is in that previous round. I think they threw 1 smoke towards Broken Wall, maybe. And outside of that, it was just straight up taking aim duels with player site, player sidewalk. The more I think about it, I don't even think they had that typical smoke Broken Wall because they challenged early with the player sidewalk.
Yeah, so you sometimes see the counter terrorists throw that, right? Which I think may have been what happened, judging by the angle it was thrown from.
It could have came late, I think. Yeah, but
there's a lot of very interesting questions.
Even so, like they're playing it very. See, here's the thing: you can say they're not playing it properly, but the thing is they're playing it to their strength, and they're playing it to what they've probably done in practice 100 times. And it's nice to have both iterations of how you want to play, right? You have the all-out, we're going to take raw aim, we're going to just play contacts across the map, we're just going to scrim out Plat. And then you can also fall back to those safe executions that a lot of teams know. So it could just come out as a bonus to the Extatus side, and so far it's working out beautifully.
I do think it's a win-win, right? If you think about it. If the scrimmy style or going aggressive and trying to force those picks and just being confident doesn't work out, having the strap to fall back on means that you can still win out a series. You can still win out a match, let alone the full kind of other 2 maps that could possibly come. So for them right now, they're not going to be too worried. They will be a little bit concerned about the fact they've just lost 2 members to a 5-7, however. But with the backstep coming in from Zedco, he's going to be such a big distraction for them. As Robin playing up close with the CZ will try and find just another, gets away with the pick on towards Devil, in fact, to at least cause a bit of a stir. But the minute he raises his head out of wood is the minute Monty will take him down. Another round, another very decisive one for Extatus. Some 5-1 up in this scoreline, soon to be 6-1 up, considering ex-Manatee have nothing to play with.
Ex-Manatee, although they did invest heavily into that round, they can still be kind of content with what they got out of it. They invested into armor and pistols. They got 3 frags. That's 3 rebuys for Extatus. And you can see immediately Zedco knows exactly the kind of the situation ex-Manatee are going to be in this situation. He buys a MAC-10 again to farm up, and he's going to take down Robin. So he checks the corner. Lesson learned, and he's just going to be the only player here. Pushing into a stacked B site from ex-Manatee. He'll figure it out shortly. He's able to get 1. Deals damage to Dip Arm. But outside of that, not much. And pretty sure they know the A site's clear at this point as they push up. Crossing door, using utility back sight, just to double check and make sure no one's going to be there. Extatus will have A site completely given up to them. And going up against MAC-10 with no armor and USP as this round surely is going to be Extatus's, so it's going to be 6-1, unless something drastically terrible happens. In which case, Extatus might be. I'd be pretty upset if this round doesn't go Extatus' way. Is what I'm saying. I mean, I've had my coffee, right? And I'm not ready for any kind of crazy stuff.
Bomb is gonna tick on away, and I think see if ex-Manatee can through with a few nice little frags here and there. That'd be kind of nice, but tough one as a few USP shots here and there flung away. But they're not really reaching their final destination. Benji with a MAC-10 will at least be able to trade into 1, but that's not before Extatus can get themselves a easy double down scenario where they get to take advantage of Farmer and Depan without any sort of saving that comes out of that round. So we're now enter our 8th. Now, the reason why I make a real big point of stressing these rounds is because in a matchup like this, where you've got such a confident T-side playing, you've got to be very, very cautious of just where we're at in the game, kind of how things are developing. Extatus, they're so confident that if they start to move to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9, there will come a point of no return for ex-Manatee where this first map really starts to become a write-off. I'm a little concerned that I want to see something from these buy rounds now.
So the last second of the previous round, right before we were about to transition, the round was about to end, Benji got a kill with the MAC-10 and got a free upgrade to an op. So they invested nothing and it came out with 4750. I think that's
kind of a win.
That's not bad. So then now they get a free op out on Benji. He's actually able to get armor behind it, so it's the first time we've seen this from ex-Manatee. Although they didn't buy it, heck, it's still better than nothing. Diparn going to be playing towards Dangerous Stairs. A good gush comes through the wall. Farmer gets gushed. So again, ex-Manatee get the opening pick when they get guns in their hands. Monty going to push up. He's able to clean up the op and the second through the smoke. Monty, those are 2 beautiful entries. And now ex-Manatee have to make the rotations come across the map. They're able to get 1 player up balcony. Only UMP, Robin will fall, leaving Farmer and Krez to try to hold off this onslaught from Extatus.
Very, very sloppy stuff right now coming out from the Swedes. Just peeking out wide like that, trying to rush in towards door before that smoke blooms. It's just a real rookie mistake that allows Extatus to really mop up these rounds, get themselves in the position that they currently are, which is a stranglehold on the Swedish side. It's going to be 7-1. They're going to try and save away these AK-47s and M4A4s, really put them in a chest and throw away the key. But in reality, they desperately need this weaponry in that next round, so they can hide in the corner all they want, but as long as they survive, that's what we care about.
Looks like they're not going to be hunted too much. Farmer's just going to worry about them pushing up towards Dragon. Krez, he's focused on a chicken, so, I mean, their priorities are straight at least. So they will be able to save Extatus. They're going to go up 7-1 really early on the T side. And they've put in ex-Manatee in a weird situation where their economy has been unable to really stabilize, even with Blast bonus. And this is a prime example of that. They save 2 guns, and they still have 2 players without any utility, and Benji glass cannon op. So, I mean, it's been an interesting game in the economy sense, where Robin's had SMGs pretty much almost every buy round. They haven't had full rifles for what feels like forever. And Extatus, they've just done a lovely job of keeping ex-Manatee in check.
Gonna find its way down, just way to hold off fighting B push, and gives the idea of aggression, a possibility almost towards the CT side in terms of just trying to abuse platform a little bit more, which is going to prompt Extatus to actually start to explore alternative regions on the map, looking out all over towards mid, of course, waiting to see, okay, can we actually try and get a foray down in towards Matrix and see if we can take control of that area? I think that really does work out kind of well for the CT side now, because it's one of the first rounds in a little while they've really been able to run down the clock without losing a significant amount of just overall manpower, being seconds left. Time usually we're looking at 3 versus 5 or something, but Finally, we're in a 5 versus 5 even Stevens split. ex-Manatee a shot to take a round if they played their cards right.
So, Extatus just wearing down the clock have made ex-Manatee use every single piece of utility they had invested, which wasn't much to begin with, but Robin, Dipard, and Krez had pretty much full utility on each. So Extatus just wearing down the time, forcing all the utility out, and now they're going to go towards P, and it is just going to be a skirmish. Robin comes out on top with 2 on his UMP. Questone pushing up to trade it back out, but now he's in a 1v2, and he is going to get picked on the cross. So ex-Manatee, even though they had no utility left to hold it off, the trades are there for them, and the op rotates to clean it up. So ex-Manatee still in this game. They get 2, but now they're in a situation where a reset is possible. They keep 2 members alive, so a couple players will have money in the bank, but Extatus, all AKs, bought back up. They have utility for it. And this is the time we may see an execution instead of either a delayed and then right into a full-blown scrim out to a site. We may see them actually set up and go for these smokes, go for the full wall of smokes, and try to just fight these players off.
Thrown here and there, a few things to be explored. Smoke is going to go down in towards door, and that kind of leads up to this big B push to be the climatic point of this round, whereas basically Extatus, they waltz into a site, they say they want it, and they kind of get it. It's like, you know, parents asking something of their children. There is no rebellion, though, to try and counteract it. ex-Manatee, they just kind of have to take it and just let it happen. Because all they have is an AWP and a rifle to discuss, and even then, that's going to do nothing here. They just want to save it again, and it really begins to set the wheels in motion for a very dastardly point of the game. It's 7-2. It's now going to go 8-2. Benji can find a pick with the AWP, sure, but that's playing to the idea of limiting the economy growth of the Extatus side. Like the old saying of, you know, you can look at a millionaire and you can take £10,000 out of a billionaire's bank account, but they're not going to notice it. It's the same thing right now for Extatus. Doing a little bit more is all well and good, starts to have a nice and healthier impact, so it does get better, which credit where credit is due on that front. But even then, there are still thousands of dollars in Extatus' bank. They'll replace all these weapons with relative ease.
What I find really interesting also about that round is ex-Manatee, for some reason, I don't know if it's interesting, more just odd, is they played 2 players back on back plat by the stairs, and that got completely caught off guard. A flash came through, they both were able to dodge it, but neither of them were holding for the push up towards plat through the smoke. Extatus were able to just run through the smoke, and Monty was able to get the clean double kill on those 2 players backstairs. There's no trade, no nothing. And then the third player was completely alone, 1v5 as they came out onto the site. Nothing they could do. There's interesting positioning from ex-Manatee. Robin again with his UMP. I don't think he's had an M4. I think he's had 1 M4 so far in 11 rounds. And as I say that, he's just going to throw his UMP up towards him, say thank you for the AK. Again, ex-Manatee, they're able to get the opening pick, but then it kind of falls apart for them as they get picked apart one by one instead of just sticking as a unit. And sometimes they take some daring peeks.
Talking of daring peaks, look at Monty right now. Charges out onto the phase, finds one, looks for a second. Benji with the AWP, but Devil, the perfect backstab up on A. This all begins to build around together for this T-side. Kreese, realizing going aggressive is going to be the play. Tries with the UMP to chalk it through. Will get away with the pick on towards Questone, but the Orbs are rotating. They think it's an A-side hit, and they are right. Low one.
Zedko's going to come from along the bomb. We'll see if he's going to be able to cross. And Devil, if he can hold off these players a little bit longer, and he's successful in doing so, that bomb gets free to site for free. Relatively unchallenged. Devil's going to still work around APC. Benji's there with the op, and lovely pre-fire. Saw the gun, takes the peek, and the head of Benji will be left in pieces on the floor. Krez, 11 HP, 1v2. Has a kid, has a smoke. Just going to take the op and get out of here. That's the smart play. So he's going to fall. ex-Manatee, well, they're going to give up round number 11. So it's going to be 9-2 now in favor of Extatus, who have been looking really good on the T side. Even when they're down, they're able to find these engagements that just bring it right back in their favor. They can be down 2 men at the beginning of a round, as ex-Manatee are able to find the picks due to Extatus' aggressive default. Even if ex-Manatee find the 2 opening picks, 3 opening picks, Extatus are still able to find favorable engagements. The players aren't taking too much damage as they get into a site. And that round's perfect example is Devil got a 3K, and he only took 20 damage. And he took care of the rotator and 2 entries.
When do you get to the point of it becoming that Kratos storyline that you just can't come back from, where you just push away Cobblestone and say, okay, what's that second map? Because it's 9-2 right now, Seaside. It's more than likely going to go 10 up for Extatus here as well, considering just what ex-Manatee has to invest in this round. When does it get too far? I guess is the question I'm asking. I think everyone has a different opinion on this, so what's yours?
I don't think it ever gets too far away from you, unless it's not only are you just getting destroyed in the aim duels, but it's 15-0. So, I mean, they're still finding frags, they're still finding openers, so there's still glimmer of hope, and Dip Arn's Deagle, as you just spread hatred amongst them, Dip Arn's gonna find 2 Deagle shots. So, and I mean, it is kind of a T-sided map still, depending on the teams you're looking at and the level of play. But relatively speaking, it is kind of one of these T-sided, just you can hold W's and get away with it, just due to the slow rotation times. And Extatus are just kind of abusing that right now, but these pistols from ex-Manatee, they're gonna counteract your point.
I hope so. I want this match to be close, bear in mind. I've seen these Swedes do a whole lot of work in the past. The Pan is going to get the backstab as well, bear in mind, to drop that bomb, leaving Zeko in a 1v3. Now, this is a situation you find yourselves in not all that often. But is he going to be able to pull through, delivering a pretty big clutch if he can to set things in stone? Boxes, but with 15 seconds left, I think this one might be all but done. Priest is going to catch him off. Yeah, but ex-Manatee, the round where we start to have a bit of a chit-chat, the doubt really does kick in. Prove us wrong, the pistols. The work done, Depan with the Deagle, really hitting up with some big impact frags. It does the play of now, up to their third, of course. I do think 4 or 5 is really what I want to see from them. But with Extatus now being pushed on back, a real crack in their economy, could be a good chance for ex-Manatee to find their way back in this game. Come out towards platform, of course. Very slow stuff coming out from that orb.
Gotta love this buy. Sawed off and op and pistols. And they're all in, by the way. That's everything they got. Yeah. That is everything they got. And Frozen wants to try to make it work towards drop again. Robin with his UMP. I feel like he's just a bank at this point. He must be dropping rifles for his teammates and just taking UMPs himself. So, I mean, that is a meta you can run. Benji, speaking of the op, may get overwhelmed, but he's able to find a second shot in time. Farmer's gonna peek the cubby, and it is easy cleanup for the Farmer, leaving it all on Devil with the op at 1v3. Krez won't even give him a chance to peek out. So ex-Manatee will get 4 on the board. Starting to look better and better as these rounds start to run by later stages of this half. As ex-Manatee start to string a couple together, they've gotten 2 in a row now. And not only that, they're just putting up some numbers. So they get to 4. On round 14, Extatus have to go ahead and take a knee. They're going to have to take a save round. So ex-Manatee have a good chance at 5 and then even 6 if the buy is not going to be looking too hot from Extatus. But with 4-round loss on the last round, it will be AKs across the board. So it will be looking good on round 15 for a full buy, but right now it's just going to be pistols. Benji's going to have something to say about that.
Yeah, Benji's going to have a field day with the leader with him just pulling out a triple kill. A quick double from Depan. That round is over before it even got started. And what it really tops up to is Extatus, they gave a comeback mechanic over to the ex-Manatee side. They let them abuse them with pistols, and that just left the door wide open now for the Swedes to walk on through and pretty much drop their stuff in that 14th and 15th round now, because I'm looking at this on paper and going, sure, Extatus, you have these rifles here, but if you can't make this work, then you've given ex-Manatee that 9-6 half, which is arguably what we wanted to see, not the whole kind of 12-3 sort of shenanigans. Benji, with the aggression now, he's starting to really get riled up. That means first blood for the CT side, another factor that is huge for them.
Yeah, they've had no problem finding the opening picks. It just comes down to being able to hold the site, getting the rotations done on time. But ex-Manatee have definitely, when they have rifles, the first pick, generally speaking, is going to go their way. But outside of that, Extatus just do a great job of holding default, baiting out utility, knowing their man down, and being able to work together to just bring it back and claw it back. Catching off these rotations and dealing with the players in sight relatively clean without too much hassle has been a benefit for Extatus. And now they're going to send Frozen down drop. They know he's there. Bomb, in the meantime, working towards A. And Benji may get caught out if a smoke blooms in his face. Frozen's going to be able to find one towards B. So let's see how this actually affects Humanity's rotations. and it's going to pull Benji completely back to the B site, and they deal with the A side. So look at that. One player pulls a rotation, and that's just due to ex-Manatee having zero map control elsewhere, and it all falls apart now.
So frustrating to see. You know, I get excited at the start of the round because I see them taking control of A long, I see them getting that first pick again, which is a crucial ingredient in all fairness to a strong CT side start. But then, just as you discuss, you bring it back down to ground earth in terms of the rotates and the issues that have struck the CT side. Again, they find themselves just kind of over. They now having to run back for this attempt at a retake, but a crack at this is almost hard to achieve. Have a lot of kits, but very little ability. They have got the added effect of Kreese coming in from mid, which will try and get themselves the positional advantage from there, but Monty already finding that first pick is just going to set things to a very rough point, leaving it to a 1v1. Kreese now having to push in towards wood, and you just never really saw it there. You always kind of just went, you know what, Extatus in this 3v3? They have the positions locked down, and that is going to be the case. 10-5 is the halftime scoreline, folks. ex-Manatee, they got themselves a few back, but I still think a lot less to be desired about.
Definitely. It could have been way worse. The 10-5 is not the worst scoreline. Now let's see what the pistol round is going to consist for ex-Manatee. We saw Extatus go on their T side. A lot of drop pressure, a split towards A. They took the duels close range towards connector. And Extatus have a similar setup with one player holding window, one player playing close to door / rock. So it's a very similar setup. Now, these Glocks are able to get down and swarm these two players and isolate them. It's going to become a bad day for Extatus, as they'll have one player with a molly and a flash, a kid out on Monty with a smoke. So they've gone for two players without any armor. These Glocks are going to be able to shred those players, especially as ex-Manatee have three players towards drop. Benji's holding the flank while one player's holding for the plat push. And down drop they go as ex-Manatee going to go for an execution towards it. B.
Farmer going to take the fight. Next to get both the first and the second, and manages to connect both of those headshots. The Glock reigning supreme. A whole lot of damage to be done. As ex-Manatee leave themselves in a very strong and decisive spot right now. Frozen just, you can try all you want, but a 1v5, I've seen you do some nutty things, but this would be a whole new one. As he just plays around that pillar, dancing to his heart's content. It does take two to tango, and therefore that will give him a second to strike down on. But even a third here, starting to not see it, and starting to see it fade away, as Benji will finally lay him to rest. ex-Manatee, they get themselves that second pistol. Again, we start to panic 6-10. If they can second force up coming in from Extatus now, then you start to look at the idea of it going 7 or even 8-10, and it gets.
Well, before we get too far into this next round, I want to remind everybody of the big giveaway E-Fragger throwing at you with the help of Razer Rising Stars. We got a bunch of awesome Razer goodies, a DX Racing chair, a ton of cool stuff to help you amplify your game, from a mouse pad to a headset to a comfy chair to sit in while you game. So there's only 5 days left in the giveaway. You're watching, you might as well put your name in the hat for a chance to win a bunch of awesome cool stuff. Just thought I'd remind you, get your name. There's going to be a link in chat, link on the screen. Don't forget. And don't forget about the opening pick from Monty as he found Krez.
Starting to lead up into the round nice and strongly. It is going to be Robin to find a little bit more as he takes down Monty. So at least a few trades here and there. A plentiful round for both of these teams. But we have to be very almost cautious to the push coming in towards mid right now for the ex-Manatee side, as it does have at least one benefit. They can take control of Matrix, but at the same time it prompts the rotate to come back from Frozen. Now these 5-7s, if they get themselves intertwined with angles such as wood or playing long corner, you can see them have a real anchoring effect. I'm not sure if that's the right way to describe it, but they have a real strong chance of being able to stop that choke point from getting taken advantage of. I guess is what we're trying to hit towards there. And that's something that will very much harm this ex-Manatee side. And you start to see it take place there. Frozen, he goes aggressive for it, which means he's going to get traded out. But they have a player to still fill that rank. And trading right now isn't all that bad for the CT side.
Not looking the wrong way. His teammate dies, but he gets the call in time to spin around before that CZ can get reloaded. So good communication on the ex-Manatee side. It's all on Devil, 5-7 armor. Never count out a 5-7, especially when he's going to be here on the rotation. So he's going to come up from long. We'll see how prepared ex-Manatee are for this. But with Robin's position towards Cubby on site, he has a player falling back towards stables. It should not be doable, but an AK gets picked up. So now it's a 1v1. I take it back. Devil can certainly get this done. He spots ahead and he'll tap it away. Extatus. Well, I mean, the pistols. What can you say? And Devil picking up the AK to clutch the 1v2. It's just things that Extatus are good at.
Never right off 5-7. Sure, it was a very different way of approaching it. I think Extatus still could have played that round a whole lot better. You know, leading it to a 1v1 clutch, that is certainly putting all your eggs in one basket. But hey-ho, you got a player like Devil who spots the head and taps it down. Still, it's all the more important, and it removes the idea of ex-Manatee going for that 7th and 8th round. Extatus, they control this game again. Once again, they put themselves in the hot seat. The weaponry is theirs. All they've got to do is still play against these Deagles, but this is where we kind of get caught in that tug of war, right? Where we talk about these pistols. ex-Manatee, they've actually been pretty damn good with these Deagles.
They have been pretty nuts. Especially Dipbarn. As we were talking, a little bit of shade, he just hits some ringers and wins the round for ex-Manatee on the CT side. So look for him to find some impact here as he's able to push up mid unspotted. And Quizstone, his back has turned. And he's just going to get D'd in the side of the head, leaving Frozen alone towards long. And he can't hold on. He's only able to get one, and Benji finds the trade. So look at that. A lurk up from Dipbarn, nets him 2 kills, gets the opener, finds the rotator and Devil. This round, that looked like it's surely going to go Extatus' way. Considering these Deagles have just 1 set of armor on Dipbarn, it starts to lean heavily towards ex-Manatee.
Dipbarn is literally just case in point, the example of why we keep bringing up these pistols. I'm sure there are folks sitting out there right now going, let's just put the pistol topic to rest. Let's just let it be. But this is why we discuss it, because of rounds like this. The Eagles winning it all. ex-Manatee get themselves their 7th. Monty just gonna have to try and run away with this M4A4, see if he can stash it for future rounds. Perhaps do a little bit more damage as well, so he's going to have a bit of a wavering affair with his own crosshair. Will lead him to get that frag on towards Benji, but not before a potential second is going to be found before a trade comes in. As Kreese is going to spam away, hip fire from a Deagle, of course, but a punishing blow nonetheless. A pause to come in though, and that is going to be a bit of a momentum broker, should we say, to be correct about that one, for the ex-Manatee side, as we have seen a player unfortunately depart from the Extatus lineup. Does mean we have a few minutes here or there to work that one out, I think.
The weirdest thing about the previous round is how Dipbarn, like, Quizstone kind of got timing, but at the same time, when you have a UMP towards long A, and they're not playing too aggressive, they need that player to be spotting mid, and the player at long A needs a safe avenue to retreat, but you also can't neglect mid, so Quizstone was, I think, rotating to maybe throw a flash or something for his teammate. But he gets caught completely with his back turned, and he neglected mid just for that minute, I think it was 20 seconds he didn't look at mid. And that was the time Dipbarn needed, not only to run up mid, but also to line up the Deagle headshot. So a little timing, but a little miss kind of information gained from Quizstone as he tried to help out Frozen, but all he got was a Deagle shot in the side of the head. So 11-7 is now where we're going to sit, and Extatus, they're going to have to go for pistols. Some go for armor, most elect not to, the majority, so 3 players don't have it. As ex-Manatee, well, they're going to have rifles across the board, they're going to go for some plat control, and just work a default. 2 players working towards plat, Krez holding the counter boost towards drop, while 2 players hold for the long A push and mid push, ex-Manatee. They're not going to take any chances during these rounds, and as I say that, Benji gets caught stargazing, so...
I feel like I just kind of want to give up on looking at these rounds with pistols in play now. Just kind of let it happen, right? Just let it unfold. These frags seem to always be able to get found. Frozen tucked in on this corner as well. If we see any sort of push coming from Dipbarn, he's going to get punished. So I'm kind of glad to see him fall back. But it does mean that ex-Manatee have a lot of time to try and kind of rethink their game plan. But it also does have a bit of reality in it in terms of 50 seconds is just that, 50 seconds. So it may well be a lot of time in terms of Counter-Strike, but if to get a strat conveyed or just the idea of pushing together, that is a tough one. But when you're up against pistols, it shouldn't be all that hard just to make one cohesive push and take control of the site. You have got that utility after all from Robin and Kreese. Molly will check the corner, realizing no one is there. Farmer getting the pick on towards that goal. This is looking pretty good. Monty will get himself up on towards Statue. Kreese is going to be able to take him down. The frag towards Rock is soon to follow. It looks like ex-Manatee, sure, with 50 seconds to play, would get away with it with 10 to spare.
They will be able to get number 8, Frozen and Devil. Not only are they going to be smoked off, and they have to come through one choke point where this player already is. So Frozen, I mean, he has armor, picks up the AK, he's going to fall away, I imagine. As Devil gets thrown a pistol. Frozen's going to resurrect actually and drop for him. Interesting decision considering he could have fallen away with 650 in the armor and the AK for free. Although, if we look at their money, yeah, no, he could have gotten away with an AK for the next round. They wouldn't have been able to force around it, but they could have definitely justified a pistol armor around it.
Another pause to be set in. Going to be a one of technical nature, folks, and we can only apologize, of course, on behalf of VFrag that this one does take place. But again, it does give us time to have a bit of a chit-chat about the current state of affairs in the game. Of course, ex-Manatee getting themselves a second in a row, and it does prompt the idea of what Extatus want to do with their economy. They don't really have all that much on a very kind of up and down spiral, but it's one thing in common amongst every single player. It's not spread together. It's all different amounts. So do they try and buy some light pistols here and kind of get themselves all balanced out and equalize the economy? Do they just kind of lay it to rest?
I mean, they were able to win round number 2 on this half and then completely just get destroyed the following 2 with ex-Manatee keeping 3 members alive. So ex-Manatee aren't really hampered at the money situation right now. Ex-Manatee are just also what they're playing, what they're doing right now when they have rifles in their hands. They're pretty much just playing a default unless they're 100% certain on Extatus's kind of buy in the round. You can see 2 MAC-10s get purchased, so they have a good idea that Extatus's money is not going to be the best. So I think body armor and pistol is justified in this certain situation, considering I think they had 4 players over 3,500. So body armor, P250, if you're feeling risky, Tech 9. You don't want to invest too much, but buying just above 2,000 will make it comfortable because you'll get 2,400 for third round. So they'll have good enough money. I'd like to see one of these players full save, just to get the presence of the op on a CT side. They dabbled with it a little bit on the T side, although they were a very rifle-heavy kind of team when it came to their scrims out. They didn't really want that op pressure too much. But I'd like to see it on the CT side early. Although I say early, it's gonna be it's gonna come on the 5th round in or 6th round in on the round or on the half. But I'd like to see one of these players full save. Everyone else get pistol armor. It can be just fine in the situation. And I mean, it's like rolling a die. You never really know what you're going to get out of the pistol. And I mean, you can go even no armor and a $300 investment. It's kind of like, why not at this point?
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. A few little different opinions at the end of the day all can spiral, and they just have a choice to make, right? And that's really what it comes down to. Of course, folks, for a little bit of context for you as well on what this is all about. Adria Masters Group D, it's a winner's match. Something we do look towards in itself. Seaside, let me ask you this, just to kind of move us along somewhat, as we do seem to have a little bit more time for a discussion here and there from what I've been told. What do you feel like about the old Adria Masters? Because one thing I like to do is I kind of like to bring up this discussion because some of you, they may be new here to Adria Masters in itself, or they may not know what it's all about, and it's a good chance to also get your opinion on it because you've been kind of involved in it now from the commentary perspective, of course. Are you liking it? Are you liking the concept of supporting grassroots? I think that's a given more in itself, but just some of the teams you've watched, what's your thoughts overall been on it?
No, it's sweet. The CS is really high level from what I've seen from when it comes down to grassroots. You have a lot of good teams that are well known that get a lot of support. Like I was noticing before the stream even started, there are a bunch of Extatus fans in the chat. Just can't so excited for the game to start to support a team, which is great to see. It's awesome to see smaller teams with lesser known players. Some players that are known either through FPL, from playing Rank S, to doing all these other things to come together, put a team together, and get a platform to perform, get broadcasted on, to give a chance to play for money and play for something. And we have something similar in North America. It's small in comparison, but it's awesome to help lower teams, grassroots, and try to grow it up. So I think it's a sick initiative, and it's sweet because you can look at how many teams are able to get incorporated into one tournament to support the players. So
yeah, one of the nice things I found as well is a lot of people kind of mention the idea of, well, isn't this the Adria Masters? Surely it's just kind of the Balkan and the Adria regions. But no, one of the really cool things as well is it's targeted at those regions, but there is no region lock limiting it to only those areas. Hence the reason why we've got ex-Manatee involved, for example, a Swedish lineup. So that's one of the cool things in its own right. Of course, all these teams have to battle out either through the set of 14 invited teams, or of course through the qualifiers that took place on the 22nd and the 23rd of April, which was, I think, over 256 slot online calls, so pretty big event in its own right. But we found ourselves our qualified teams, and we're kind of well and truly into the groups now, as this is our winners match, of course. But one little special thing to say is I've just been informed the game is finally going to be kicking off very, very soon. A few issues to be kind of sorted out, but it looks like everything has been resolved, and that does mean we can get ourselves back into the CS. An unfortunate pause and a fairly drawn out one, but it is what it is. Of course, Group D, it's been a very close affair. Extatus, ex-Manatee, the two teams playing right now, of course, then Fury Gaming and Netland have all battled out tooth and nail. Only one team can push on through with that top of the group standing. Extatus, looking like they're the team that wants it as we go live into our 20th round.
Farmer's going to molly backstairs early. Put a little bit of utility towards Broken Wall. That nade just going to land on those two players who push up. Kreds, in the meantime, towards the A site with his teammate. The MAC-10s start the farm session towards B site. Monty smoked off, has to hide behind it. As ex-Manatee, I mean, they get the opener towards A, and they immediately rotate back, including Bomb. There's one player towards balcony to try to figure this out by himself. And he's going to need some help short of that Zedko, and he's going to get pushed from these MAC-10s. Devil's going to whip a molly through the smoke even to keep them more confused. It looks like these MAC-10s just want to farm up. That's two for him now. So, Extatus, we're going to have to wait to get a bolt high into this round, but ex-Manatee clean it up pretty simple. There's nothing crazy about it. It wasn't a crazy operation. It's pretty cut and dry, and yes, the op's going to come out from Devil, and they're going to go for a double op. So, double the pressure that I mentioned.
Excited to see what these double ops can do now. Is it going to be slow and steady, the picks going for the victory here, or are they going to be going for a little bit more of an aggressive move? Of course, one thing we have seen from a CT side is the boost coming in towards drop. That doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be sending one over on towards long. Devil going to just hold that angle nice and patiently with Questor, and then to bring a bit of spice of life over towards the back of platform. As Devil will hold, Devil gets himself a reward, finds the first. Questone, the secondary, comes in over on towards that B site. Both orbs doing their thing and getting rewarded. 2 picks aplenty. Manatee in a very tough spot now. 3 for 5. I have to move up towards long, walking right into the arms of Devil, who just wants more. Finally, a trade is going to be claimed. Benji will punish him. Frozen. He's got Matrix on lockdown. No one can push on in and take it away from him. This man is hitting his shots and will punish you right to the very end. 12-9 is the scoreline. Manatee unable to get all that close in that one. Frozen locking it down. The EWPs as well. Well, I think it's unjustified to call them the cherry on top in that round, as they did just so much.
Yeah, what I love about what Devil did in that situation is not only did he hold the first corner, held his ground, timing the shot, but he also fell back to another safe angle towards long A because he knew he couldn't completely abandon long A and fall to sight. He had to help out his teammate towards danger stairs, or as you call it, Matrix. So he couldn't fall all the way back. He stuck around, even sacrificed his life for it, but they got all the frags towards A in the end as a secondary op. Found one towards B. So it's a nice round from Extatus. They didn't give up too much ground. They played together, knowing they can't fall back due to that one player's positioning. As Robin gonna find the sneaky Zedko. He was boosted up. I think he was in the corner. I think he was trying to fall back, but he lost the wood planks and got caught. As 12-9 is gonna be your scoreline. ex-Manatee get the opening pick. That's the UMP down, but they still have to deal with these double ops. And Monty towards E-Box.
Loving all these different calls. I've just realized, kind of listening a little bit more back into it, we have different names for everything. I love it. Different regions rocking it again. Let's see. Robin, of course, able to get that pick on towards Monty to bring it back into the present, though. It is going to mean that instead of Extatus being the team in control with those double orbs, it has somewhat turned the tables. And this is where you have to get a little concerned. Is you don't want double orbs to be those last weapon standings. They have their impact at the start of the round, but towards the end, it gets harder and harder. Make them that Swiss Army knife you need to be able to make them full. Instead, you already get drawn into the idea of, you know what, maybe I should just save this. And I think that is going to be the case right now for Devil. And then gets caught out by Robin, who just peeks around the corner, sees a barrel pop out from the woodwork. And that's where he is going to strike.
Twelve to 10. And Extatus have been put in another weird situation on round 23, They're gonna buy pistols, but they can't afford to invest too much outside of that. Quiztone, he can justify an armor, a pistol, and a defuse kit on his side, but outside of that, his teammates don't want to put too much in it. As Farmer's gonna slowly work out towards Plat, has a smoke to hide behind Monty. Gonna push up and try to hold Broken off. He's able to get one dig shot in, but that's it. He'll fall. As hit part, gotta respect it.
Farmer, gonna get plenty of damage done from platform. Looking for a double kill, in fact. Down these pistols. Already pretty much wiped away. These P250s cannot get close. They've tried. They've got Kreese fairly low. They got Farmer down to 50, but that's not enough. Robin, another headshot for him as well, and towards Quiztone. Burst fire affair, but it is what it is. A frag is a frag. Farmer is going to be there to hunt for the final pick for Quiet. Just gently along. Fourth. Well, heated now. Ex-Manatee up to 11. What difference? Status is not all that to be desired of. A Max 7 on Frozen. A CZ on Quiztone. They do have rifles to back it up, of course. The core trio of Zedko, Devil, and Monty do have decent weaponry, but the CZ Max 7? I think Max 7 has its uses in drop or broken wall, but aside from that, it's a cautious one for Extatus. They find themselves very much on edge of being taken advantage of by the ex-Manatee side if they play smart here and get these early picks, which, surprise, surprise, is the case.
Frozen will hit the dirt. That was the Max 7 down and out early. And we'll see how Extatus really decide to play this, being a man down, getting picked early. So they know there's pressure from Benji towards the A side of the map, and we'll see how they react towards this kind of setup from ex-Manatee. So they're aware there's pressure coming towards A, and in response to this, Zedko is going to push up towards Stables. There's one player already in beside him pushing up towards door. That's Farmer. He's clearly in the open. Zedko is just going to get caught out. He can only get the gush. Good trade from Monty. These players from B going to start the transition over to A. It's a little too late as they'll get caught, if not only in the air, but in the open. As it's Devil, just the last one alive at a 1v4. Ex-Manatee, you're going to bring this 12 to 12.
Staring at every little angle here, and they're hunting. Devil, they want that rifle. They pretty much just want to make sure that every round is at maximum cost now to the Extatus side, because we stressed the economics a little while ago, but I haven't really mentioned it all that much now. Once you get to the later points of this matchup, the 24th, the 25th round and the like, economy becomes a real big thing. Start to be able to get these rounds where you can break them. You can leave them on nothing. A good picture of that is the current situation for Extatus. A few thousand in the bank, it leaves them with really nothing worth discussing. A P250 and an array of flashbangs, but nothing they can really fight with. Give Manatee that free round to move to 13. That's 3 away from claiming this first map. It's too close to call where it is going to go, but it makes this game a whole lot more stressful for that side.
Stressful for sure, especially considering they're looking so good on the T side. Just to transition to CT, and it's kind of the same situation ex-Manatee were in on their CT side, where their economy can't really get going. You can see ex-Manatee won pistol, Extatus won the next, and then they lost immediately, getting reset back down to 1400 round 3. And then they won on round 21, which was round 6 of this half. So we're on 25, but it was 6 in on the second half. They won that round, only to get immediately reset again back down to 1400. So ex-Manatee have done a great job of building their economy, keeping 3 players alive majority of the time in these rounds, and just able to find entries like this. Farmer, clean 3k entry against pistol with no armor. Zedko's gonna have something to say about it, but Benji will have an answer immediately for him. So it's gonna be 13 to 12 in favor of ex-Manatee. I don't think Frozen has a chance unless he breaks into a song and dance, sings the Frozen theme song, and just wows ex-Manatee to death.
You want him just to let it go, perhaps? Perhaps it's time that the P250 just gets struck away to the forgotten world?
Maybe.
I feel like one of these days we need to get you down in a studio somewhere and just have you have a bit of a sing-song. I feel like the stream would really kind of get that added a little bit of production quality for you just to, you know.
As long as I keep my clothes on.
Like that's the one thing you...
Oh, not that kind of studio, right? Oh, okay.
I'm sure our viewers would love to hear you do your perfect rendition of Frozen, in fact.
a caster version. So the double ops are back.
Yeah, the double ops are back. And they get the fix though, right? Because last time they used them, and then it was a great round. But now the knowledge was there. I think Manatee have been better to adapt to that style of play. Like, it's been literally a kind of a lock-in coaster status where they have one nice round of them, and then after that, it was kind of very easy for ex-Manatee to go, okay, they've been running double up setups now, we have to be cautious about it. Same thing kind of applies here, just the way they're taking these fights. They're going very up close and personal, not really angles that can be abused by these orbs, which means that it's trades to 3 for 3, of course. But not only that, then they can try and just kind of reform, start to push up ground again. Frozen really isn't getting all that much out of his AWP. He's just playing the anchor role on this A site, just trying to punish any sort of door aggression. But if they play their cards right and abuse connector, feeling confident for the Swedes. I think this should be their 14th. They get another pick as well with Benji, who's playing that aggro role very, very well. Not Frozen, he's been dragged away. He's been forced to connect to support, allowing the door to be left wide open for Kreese. Kind of sing a bit of a false lullaby as he sets himself set up in door and literally just playing towards the site. Bear in mind.
And Frozen's about to get caught off. He's able to get himself in towards danger. Or into towards drop, excuse me. And they know he's there, so Chris is on there coming up from A, just gonna clean him up. It was kind of a weird round from Extatus. Ex-Manatee played it well, right? I mean, anytime you can get it another even man advantage after, like, they go 1 for 1, then they go 2 for 2, then finally it starts to settle down. So Extatus being evened up have to kind of make an info play. I don't know if pushing up towards Plat and getting into Cubby while getting spotted doing so was quite the play. Immediately Benji just mollies him out and takes the op shot to take him down. So Extatus on round 27, they're going to go into a quasi. They can afford UMP, they can afford these pistols. Frozen gets the first, tries to wide swing for a second, but now he can't escape his fate. As the UMP in the meantime going to find a frag elsewhere. Manny looking good to get 15 as these players rotate, but they get stuck, naded, mollied, and everything in between. A peanut butter jelly sandwich, as it's all on Monty with an AK.
This was the kind of economic aspect as well that we talked about. Us holding a second. Monty actually was able to make it work with a headshot towards Benji. Right when we thought it was a done deal, he actually has a chance to fight. His head has been spotted out. He reared it over on towards the wall of ramp. Has to play around APC. The peek will come into Pun. Now knows exactly where he's coming from. He gets tucked into a corner. Repeaks again, trying to push him up on towards APC. That bomb is ticking away. You gotta go fast. Then Monty, the angle's being held. Pun will claim victory. Just as we were about to discuss, the aspect of economy is key. That has very little to play with in previous rounds. It's been getting rougher and rougher for them. Here, they get one final chance to rock the double up setup. But again, if I'm blunt here, I've not liked it. I liked it the first time we saw it because it was something new, it was something refreshing. But ex-Manatee, they clocked onto it. They've adapted to it, and that was 8 rounds ago. That was so 2014 for all intents and purposes. Whether it works here is a big risk. Devil does get the first pick, but a quick flash to out towards B. Again, it's that punishment for all setups. 1 pick, 2 picks, they all fall down. Farmer looking for a triple, doesn't quite get away with it as Monty is going to punish it, but it's a 3 for 3 where the AWP starts to get nullified again.
That's actually crazy to me that one player, Extatus can allow one player to get out, find 2 picks like that, and even feel confident enough to go for the third. I mean, Farmer just opened up that map for them, opened up the B site, and that's how it falls apart.